The rain came down in sheets that Thursday evening, the kind of relentless downpour that makes you question every choice that brought you outside. But Sarah Mitchell wasn't thinking about the rain. She wasn't thinking about her soaked sneakers or her ruined hair or the presentation she'd bombed at work that afternoon. All she could see was the small figure huddled against the brick wall of the subway entrance, knees pulled tight to chest, shivering in clothes far too thin for October in New York City. Sarah had walked past 1,000 people in 1,000 different states of need. Everyone who lived in the city did. You had to, or you'd never make it home. You'd give away everything you had and still feel like it wasn't enough. But something about this girl made her stop. Maybe it was the way she held a tattered notebook against her chest, like it was the only thing in the world worth protecting. Maybe it was the quiet dignity in how she sat, not asking, not begging, just existing in the smallest space possible as if apologizing for taking up even that much room. "Hey," Sarah said softly, crouching down. "Are you okay?" The girl looked up and Sarah's breath caught. She couldn't have been more than 16, with dark eyes that seemed far older than they should have been, and a face so thin it looked like hunger had carved it down to the bone. But it was the expression that gutted her, that mixture of hope and fear and bone-deep exhaustion that said she'd been let down too many times to trust easily anymore. "I'm fine," the girl whispered, which might have been the biggest lie Sarah had heard all day. Sarah glanced at the notebook again. Through the clear plastic cover, she could see pencil sketches, delicate lines forming faces and flowers and cityscapes. "Did you draw these?" A flicker of something, maybe pride, maybe longing, crossed the girl's face. "Yeah." "They're beautiful." Sarah meant it. She'd been to enough gallery openings in Chelsea to recognize real talent when she saw it. "I'm Sarah. What's your name?" "Maya." "Maya, I know you don't know me, and you have every reason not to trust strangers. But I'm going to make you an offer, and you can absolutely say no. There's a diner 2 blocks from here. Would you let me buy you dinner? Just dinner, no strings. And after that, if you want to walk away, I won't follow you or bother you or anything. I just can't walk past you and not do something." Maya studied her for a long moment, and Sarah could see the calculation happening, the risk assessment, the weighing of danger against the gnawing emptiness in her stomach. Finally, she nodded. The diner was warm and bright, smelling of coffee and bacon grease and possibility. Maya sat across from Sarah in a cracked vinyl booth, her eyes darting around as if memorizing exits or maybe just trying to remember what it felt like to be somewhere safe and dry. When the waitress came, Sarah ordered 2 bowls of soup, 2 burgers, fries, and hot chocolate. "I'm not that hungry," Maya protested weakly. "Then we'll get a to-go box," Sarah said. "But I bet you're hungrier than you think." She was. Maya tried to eat slowly at first with dignity, but hunger won out. Sarah watched her and felt something crack open in her chest, some careful wall she'd built between herself and the world's pain. She'd spent the last year climbing the corporate ladder at a marketing firm, working 80-hour weeks, measuring her worth in promotions and paychecks and the square footage of her apartment. When had she last looked at someone, really looked at them? "How long have you been out here?" Sarah asked gently. Maya set down her burger. 6 months. "Since my mom died. She had cancer. We didn't have insurance, and after she passed, I couldn't pay rent anymore. My dad left when I was 3, and I don't have anyone else." "Foster care?" "I tried. First home, the dad got drunk and mean. Second one, they just wanted the check and barely fed us. I figured I'd be safer on my own." Maya's voice was matter-of-fact, but her hands trembled slightly around her hot chocolate mug. "I'm almost 17. Just need to make it another year, get my GED, maybe get some kind of job." Sarah felt something shift inside her, some tectonic plate of her life sliding into a new position. She thought about her empty second bedroom, the one she'd been meaning to turn into a home office or maybe a yoga studio she'd never use. She thought about her own mother, who'd call in 20 minutes like she did every Thursday, asking about Sarah's week and whether she was eating enough vegetables. She thought about the randomness of fate, how easily their situations could have been reversed. "Maya, I have a crazy idea, and I want you to hear me out before you say no." An hour later, they were standing in Sarah's apartment. Maya moved through the rooms like a ghost, touching things lightly, almost reverently, the soft throw blanket on the couch, the books on the shelves, the framed photos of Sarah's family grinning at various holidays and beaches. "The second bedroom is yours if you want it," Sarah said. "For as long as you need it. I'll help you get your GED, maybe look into art schools if that's something you want. No pressure, no expectations. Just a safe place to figure things out." "Why?" Maya's voice cracked. "You don't even know me." Sarah thought about that. She thought about her grandmother, who'd fled Poland with nothing but the clothes on her back and found strangers who'd hidden her family in attics and root cellars. She thought about her first semester of college, when she'd been so broke she'd eaten ramen for 30 days straight until her roommate's mother had noticed and started, accidentally, cooking too much food. She thought about every hand that had ever reached out to pull her up. "Because someone would have done it for me," Sarah said simply. "And because I think maybe we're supposed to do this. Help each other. Be human together." Maya started crying then, those silent tears that speak of pain too big for sound. Sarah pulled her into a hug, and the girl collapsed into her arms like a puppet with cut strings, shaking with sobs that seemed to come from somewhere deep and ancient. The next months unfolded like a story Sarah hadn't known she was writing. Maya slept for nearly 3 days straight at first, her body finally given permission to rest. When she woke up, she was cautious, helpful to the point of being invisible, cleaning obsessively and staying quiet as if afraid of being too much trouble, and losing this fragile new chance. "You live here too," Sarah kept reminding her. "You're allowed to relax. You're allowed to be a teenager." Slowly, Maya began to believe her. She started leaving her sketches on the coffee table. She laughed at Sarah's terrible jokes. She played music while she cooked. They developed routines: Saturday morning pancakes, Tuesday evening walks, Thursday movie nights. Sarah helped Maya study for her GED, and Maya taught Sarah to really see the city through an artist's eyes, pointing out the way light caught on glass buildings or how the subway tiles created accidental patterns. Sarah's friends had mixed reactions. Some thought she was crazy, too trusting, asking for trouble. Others were inspired. Her colleague James started volunteering at a youth shelter. Her neighbor Teresa began, leaving care packages for the homeless man who slept in their building's doorway, small ripples spreading outward from one moment of choosing to see someone. Maya passed her GED in February, scoring high enough that Sarah cried when she saw the results. They celebrated at the same diner where they'd had their first meal together, and the waitress recognized them, smiled, and brought them extra fries on the house. "I got accepted," Maya said quietly, sliding an envelope across the table. It was from the School of Visual Arts, offering her a full scholarship based on the portfolio she'd submitted. Sarah grabbed her hands across the table. "Maya, that's incredible. I'm so proud of you. I wouldn't be here without you," Maya said, her eyes shining. "You saved my life, Sarah. You know that, right?" "I was giving up. That night you found me, I was thinking about walking into the river." Sarah felt her throat tighten. She'd suspected but had never asked. "I'm so glad you didn't. I'm so glad I stopped." "Why did you?" "Stop, I mean. Everyone else walked past." Sarah thought about it. "I saw you. Really saw you, I mean. And once I saw you, I couldn't unsee you. I couldn't pretend you weren't there or that it wasn't my problem. Because it was my problem. We're all each other's problem, you know? That's what it means to be human." 5 years later, Sarah stood in a Soho gallery surrounded by Maya's paintings. They were stunning, capturing faces of people most society ignored. The elderly man who sold flowers on the corner, the woman who collected cans in the park, the kids who played basketball on cracked courts in the Bronx, each face painted, with such dignity and love that viewers stopped in their tracks, really seeing these people for the first time. The collection was called Her, and in the center hung the largest canvas. It showed a woman crouching in the rain, her face barely visible but her hand extended toward the viewer, offering connection, offering hope. Underneath, a small plaque read, "For Sarah, who stopped, who saw, who reminded me that humanity isn't about grand gestures. It's about choosing each other, one moment at a time." Maya walked over, elegant in a dress Sarah had helped her pick out, confidence in her stride that had been earned through years of hard work and healing. "You crying again?" "Shut up," Sarah laughed, wiping her eyes. "I'm allowed to be proud. You know this is all because of you, right?" "No," Sarah said firmly. "This is because of you. Your talent, your strength, Your refusal to let the world make you small. I just gave you a place to sleep. You gave me much more than that. Maya pulled her into a hug. You gave me myself back. Later, after the gallery had closed and they sat together on Sarah's couch like they had 1,000 times before, Maya asked the question she'd been holding on to. Did you ever think about that night? About what would have happened if you'd just kept walking? Sarah looked at this young woman she'd watched grow from a big, frightened girl into someone who now inspired others. With her art and her story, she thought about all the meals they'd shared, the late-night conversations about dreams and fears, the quiet ways they'd stitched each other's hearts back together. I think about it all the time, Sarah admitted. Not with regret, but with gratitude. Because that night I found you. But really, I think you found me too. I was so lost in my own life, so disconnected from what mattered. You reminded me that we're all just walking each other home. Maya nodded, understanding passing between them without words. Outside, the city hummed with millions of lives intersecting and diverging. Countless opportunities for connection or isolation, for seeing or looking away. And somewhere out there, Sarah hoped, someone else was stopping. Someone else was choosing to see. Someone else was learning that the simplest act of kindness could rewrite two lives at once. Because that's what her meant. Not just Maya, not just Sarah, but every single person we pass, every face we see or ignore, every chance we take or miss to recognize. The shared humanity binding us all. Together, her, him, them, us, all of us, walking this world together, capable of devastating cruelty or breathtaking grace. And every day, with every choice, we decide which one we'll be.